Welcome to the Montgomery County High School Football Show with your hosts, Main Street Clarksville sports editor Brady McAtamney and Robertson County Connection sports reporter David Wilson. The Montgomery County High School Football Show is brought to you by the Bone and Joint Group of Clarksville. They are committed to serving the community by providing a superior standard of care to all of their patients. Rock and Roll Sushi of Clarksville. Stop by their Wilma Rudolph location today and grab one of their signature sushi rolls and listen to some classic rock hits. C-Wraps of Clarksville. Whether you're in need of a new color change to your vehicle or would like a new wrap to advertise your business, C-Wraps has the knowledge and expertise to get you back on the road in style. Danielle Stack at Farmers Insurance. If you're in the market for new auto, home, life, business, renters, or even pet insurance for your fur baby, Danielle can secure you with a personalized plan that fits all of your needs. And the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Remember, fans don't let fans drive drunk. Now, here are Brady McAtamney and David Wilson.
Welcome to the Montgomery County Football Wrap-Up Show. It is week 3 in the books. My name is Brady McAtamney. I am the sports editor at Main Street Clarksville, here to bring you all the football news and updates here in Montgomery County. Here with my co-host, David Wilson. He is the sports reporter for Robertson County. David, how you doing today?
I'm good, Brady. How are you doing?
We're doing great, man. So we got another week in the book. I mean, it feels like the season is flying by so far. I mean, 3 weeks in the books already. We're here talking week 4 soon coming up. What do you want to start with?
Brady, we have 3 weeks in the book in the Montgomery County area. It's gone by super fast. The weather has been super nice, and the football has been great as well. We'll start with Clarksville. Our Clarksville football segment is brought to you by the Bone and Joint Group of Clarksville. The Bone and Joint Group is committed to serving their community by providing a superior standard of care for all their patients. Give them a call today at 931-905-1001. The Wildcats picked up yet another win this week over Kenwood by a final score of 41-14. Are there any unsung heroes to this Wildcats 3-0 start?
Yes, I absolutely think there are. As you know, football coaches like to nominate, players of the week as we kind of have our cool player of the week poll in the mid-state area. And one nomination that I got this week from Clarksville High, they nominated some players. Amari Galbraith has been doing great. James Dalrymple's been doing awesome. They've had some guys on defense who have been kicking butt. But the unsung heroes of this Clarksville High 3-0 start so far is that offensive line. And, that's kind of the unsung heroes of a lot of really good football teams. But these guys have been excellent. The anchors of that line, kind of Will Zielinski, he's a tackle. He is an Air Force commit, huge kid. He's been doing awesome. Devon Trahan, he's been absolutely holding it down kind of there in the middle. And Laney Best, who has been great these last 2 years. Get this, the last 2 games against Springfield and Kenwood, Clarksville High rushed for over 400 yards in both games. And then you account for the Montgomery Central game as well. In just 3 games, these guys are already over 1,000 rushing yards as a team in just 3 games. So if that doesn't tell you how great this offensive line has been doing so far, I don't know what will, because these guys have just been absolutely awesome for their guys. James Dalrymple, Amari Galbraith have really been the 2 biggest benefactors of that offensive line so far. But they got other guys who are running the ball, and it's been, pretty, I don't want to say easy for them, because it's never easy to get big yards on the ground. But when you got an offensive line who is moving people like this, it sure makes it a little simpler than if you got to navigate some tighter gaps.
Yeah, Clarksville's off to a 3-0 start up there in Montgomery County. Another team that's off to a 3-0 start, the new school, Kirkwood. Our Kirkwood High School football segment is brought to you by C-Wraps of Clarksville. Whether you're in need of a new color change to your vehicle or like a new wrap to advertise your business, C-Wraps has the knowledge and expertise to get you back on the road in style. So give them a call today at 931-551-5255 for a free estimate. Kirkwood's off to a 3-0 start under head coach Chad Watson. Do they really have a chance to finish with a winning record this year?
That was one of their goals this season, is to first make the playoffs, because not a lot of new schools do that, and finish with a winning record, because to their knowledge, at least this is what Chad Watson told me, is no school in their first season has done that. They think the closest that it was Nolensville, and Nolensville made the playoffs in their first season, but they don't believe that anyone has had a winning record in their first season. And like you said, they're off to a 3-0 start. I think at this point, they do have a pretty solid chance. They've got another very winnable game this week against Northeast, who is 0-3. Things get a little more difficult after that, as they're going to be facing tougher teams like Rossview, who we're going to talk about in a little bit here. Of course, they're going to have to face Clarksville High. Dixon County looks much improved this season, but it's only a 11-game schedule or a 10-game schedule, I believe, actually. So when you start 3-0 and you need to get to 6 wins or even just 5 to break even, you do the quick math, and it shows that you only need a couple more wins here the rest of the way. I think they have a pretty good chance here against Northeast. And they've got still Dixon County, who I think is beatable. West Creek, beatable for them. Kenwood, beatable for them. Rossview even might be beatable because that's a team that has kind of struggled to score. They've got a good defense, but struggling to score a little bit here. So, I mean, you give them 3 of those games and winning records. So they also just picked up a senior offer, the first senior in Kirkwood football history to get an offer. It was Trevor Newell. He's a linebacker, got an offer from Murray State. So I know Clarksville area kids probably not so happy to hear me talking about Murray State, as that's kind of the biggest rival of Austin Peay. So Austin Peay, they're going to have to get an offer for Trevor Newell there, but pretty cool there as well. So they've already got a couple kids with D1 offers. Pretty awesome for a brand new program.
Yeah, from 2 teams that are undefeated in Montgomery County to the team that is still looking for its first win, and that is Montgomery Central. Our Montgomery Central football segment is brought to you by Danielle Stack of Farmers Insurance. If you're in the market for a new auto, home, life, or business or pet insurance for your fur baby, Danielle can secure you a personalized plan that fits all your needs. So give her a call today at 931-553-1493. Is there any good vibes and momentum to take away from this loss at White House? They fell by a final score of 27-0. So it was a shutout for the Indians offense, but can they, find some momentum and positives to take away from this?
I think that there are some things that they can take away. That's kind of the name of the game when you're 0-3 is finding improvements, finding things that, maybe you can keep building on. We talked about it last week with their offense. They went and scored 20-plus points at Kirkwood. I think they can do that with their defense this week. As we know, White House is a team that can score in bunches. Holding them to 27 points, that's really not too terrible. They're especially when you consider, of course, that Clarksville High put up 56 on them in week 1. So that defense has allowed fewer and fewer points each week. Whether that's going to continue this coming week, we'll see. I think they're facing Kirkwood, or rather Creekwood. So I think that they have a chance to maybe not only continue that trend of allowing fewer points, but maybe even win that game. Creekwood is a team that has struggled so far this season. So Montgomery Central definitely has a chance there. But I do think that they can continue to kind of build on that defense. And as the defense gets better, that gives a better chance for the offense to help win that game. You get better field position. Maybe even the defense scores a touchdown or 2, gets you the ball in the red zone. So defense, of course, as we've heard from everybody ever, defense wins championships, man. So if the Montgomery Central defense, which, like we said, has continued to improve, at least on the scoreboard, I think there's some decent vibes there for the Indians, and I think that they can continue to build on that.
You mentioned Rossview earlier. They picked up the 10-0 win over West Creek this last Friday night. Our Rossview football segment is brought to you by Rock and Roll Sushi of Clarksville. Stop by their Wilma Rudolph location today and grab one of their signature sushi rolls and listen to some classic rock hits. Another shutout this week, this time by the Rossview defense. Is that defense really legit?
Man, I think that they are, honestly. We've seen in recent years that maybe while Rossview's offense has struggled, it's been their defense that's really been kind of kind of the rock of that team. And I think that's definitely going to be the case this year. That's not to say that the offense can't get it done. They scored the 10 points against West Street, but even West Street has a really good defense. So I do think that, maybe that's an okay point total. But man, that defense definitely seems legit. They've got some guys who just fly to the ball. Cole Phillips has been a rock in that linebacker core now in his third year, but he started as a freshman, started as a sophomore, and he's only gotten better here as a junior. Johnny Caballero, who is a baseball player, who Todd Hood actually managed to recruit from the baseball team along with some other players. He has been excellent on that linebacking core. Actually had a huge hit on a West Creek player this last week, one that Todd Hood actually mentioned in his post-game huddle. They were loving that. I think that those two guys, along with some other players on that defensive front, are definitely big in making this defense one that I think is definitely legit. And I think that the defense, as long as they continue playing this way, could potentially get these guys a home game in the postseason. Now, of course, they got to make the postseason first. But I do think that if they can prove to maybe be better than Dixon County, who I think is kind of the other main threat to get that home game after Clarksville High, of course, who seems destined for the 1 seed. I do think Rossview has a chance to potentially get that 2 seed if they can beat Dixon County. It's going to come down to them scoring because, as we've seen so far, that it's kind of the offense that maybe has the more question marks, but overall, it's the defense that I do think is legit and is going to be the most the biggest key for this team to get to that postseason and potentially beyond.
We'll take our first commercial break here on the Montgomery County Football Wrap-Up Show. Coming up, we'll talk about Clarksville Academy and their first win this year.
When it comes to insurance, you want a name you can trust. Wendy Danielle Stack is here to help. With over 7 years of experience, Danielle and her team are here to assist you in finding the right coverage for all of your needs. From auto and home to life and business insurance, we have customized options for everyone. We'll work with you to create a personalized plan that protects everything in your life that matters most. Call today and see for yourself why Danielle Stack is the go-to insurance agent in Clarksville.
Meet Dr. Casey Sigerson of the Bone and Joint Group, Clarksville's only hand and wrist specialist. He's passionate about getting his patients back to living their life after suffering from an injury or degenerative condition. Dr. Sigerson treats all orthopedic conditions, from injury to recovery, and is dedicated to getting his patients moving again. Whether you need joint arthroscopy, joint replacement, fracture care, or help with a hand or wrist problem, Dr. Sigerson is here to help. Schedule your appointment today at boneandjointgroup.com.
Here at Rock and Roll Sushi, we're proud to be the original American-style sushi restaurant founded on great food and rock and roll music, boasting concepts and flavors that are big, bold, and loud. We're the only place to experience the rock you love and the rolls you love with the ones you love. Come see for yourself why we're the best sushi experience in town. Find us at 108 Morris Road in Clarksville or visit our website at rockandrollsushi.com. If you're looking for a color change, look no further than C Wraps. We're Clarksville's premier vinyl wrap provider, delivering high-quality work and exceptional customer service. We offer a wide range of services, including color change wraps, ceramic coating, paint protection film, and wraps for commercial vehicles. Whether you need a color change on a luxury car or commercial wraps for your business fleet, we have the expertise to handle any project. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation.
It was just a few drinks. I'm good. I thought I was good.
After every game, we always have a few. It's no big deal. It was no big deal.
Hey, I can hold my liquor. I thought I could hold my liquor.
Welcome back to the Montgomery County Football Wrap-Up Show. I'm Brady McAtamney, the sports editor at Main Street Clarksville. That is David Wilson. He is our sports reporter at Robertson County, here being my co-host. David, let's talk some more football.
Yeah, we're going to talk about Clarksville Academy and their win over Sycamore this past weekend. Stedman Bell picking up his first win with the Cougars, a 27-14 victory over the Sycamore War Eagles. Just kind of talk about their performance and what was the key to getting them their first victory this past week.
Yeah, I mean, just first off, congratulations to Coach Bell and the Cougars. I did not pick them to win this game, so go ahead, prove me wrong, guys. I love to see that. I'm always happy to be wrong when it means that one of these teams gets a win, especially if it's the first win of the season and the first win for a head coach. So awesome stuff to see. The key is the offense, and it's kind of something that I've been talking about with them previously. You know, they got shut out week one. They scored just, I believe, 6 points last week. So I've been kind of saying, you know, hey, if they can get this offense figured out, I think that they have a chance because it seems like the defense has kind of been doing all right at least. So they went out there and they got some big-time performances. Chris Reagan's just a junior quarterback, 160 yards passing, a touchdown, 136 yards rushing, and 2 touchdowns. And his top target was Andreas Scott. He had 6 catches for 133 yards and a touchdown. Of course, that helped them get out to a 27-point scoring outing. The defense allowed just 14 against Sycamore. And hey, I mean, you think about Kirkwood, this is a team that scored 35 points against Kirkwood in the regular season. So, you know, you do a little bit of that football math as we've talked about on previous shows. I mean, not bad at all for the Cougars. So definitely impressed with that win. Definitely impressed to see some of their guys kind of breaking out after a slower start to the season. And I'm really proud to see the Cougars go out there and get this win like they did.
We mentioned Kenwood earlier. They faced the Clarksville Wildcats and fell by a final score of 41-14. Does Kenwood have a shot to get to the postseason despite this loss to Clarksville?
I definitely do think that they have a shot. Despite being 0-3, only one of those losses matters as far as postseason tries, and it was against Clarksville High, which is far and away the best team in this region. So their hardest game is already out of the way for this region. You know, they have a chance to go out and win 3, maybe 4 games from here as far as the region play goes. And, you know, as we've talked about previously, playing Franklin Road Academy and East Nashville in the first 2 weeks, rather, is going to make these games feel a bit easier. And they got West Creek coming up this week. You know, that's going to be a big tell for Kenwood. West Creek's offense has struggled mightily so far this season, as we're going to kind of talk about here coming up, whereas Kenwood's offense has honestly been pretty good. They scored 14 against Clarksville High. That's the most anyone has scored against Clarksville this season. In fact, it's 7 points more combined than their first 2 opponents have scored against them, with Montgomery Central getting shut out and Springfield putting up just 7 against them. So Kenwood's 14 points. Obviously not going to be enough to beat Clarksville High, not this season. But it does show that, you know, they've got some guys who can go out and score. They scored over 20 points against East Nashville as well, which is one of our top teams in the mid-state. So overall, I do think Kenwood definitely has a chance to get that 3 or 4 spot. We'll see. Maybe the 2 spot is in play. We're going to have to see how they do against, you know, other contenders for that spot like Rossview and Dixon County. Of course, that comes a little bit later in the season. But I do think Kenwood definitely has a shot. It starts with their offense. Jacoby Cox, their big time quarterback, only a junior, big kid, strong arm, good athlete. He's going to have to be the guy because their defense has struggled a little bit here. We're going to see that defense in action against West Creek, who has been one of the worst offenses in the area, unfortunately. So that'll give them a chance to potentially get right as the offense goes against a really good defense in that West Creek defense.
This past Friday night, Northeast faced Dixon County, and they fell by a final score of 37-6. Brady, are you surprised by that final score?
Man, I am kind of surprised by that. I thought Northeast would be a little more competitive in this game. I guess I sort of overestimated it, or maybe I underestimated Dixon County because Dixon was off to a 1-1 start, you know, but there was nothing really to suggest that they'd be able to go out and beat Northeast by 31 points. I thought the Northeast defense would probably hold Dixon to less than 37. But hey, I mean, I haven't seen them yet, so that's probably on me. But overall, I did pick Dixon to win, but I didn't pick them to win by this much. I guess I've really underestimated the impact of all those losses that they had on offense, because the offense has really, really struggled so far to start the season. They had a 13-point game against Green Hill, which, was a pretty good start. They scored on their first possession, kind of took Green Hill's defense by surprise, but then didn't kind of score again until that garbage time. So maybe I'm overestimating that. I guess I got to take this stuff into account. But man, it's tough for Northeast right now. I know that they're going through a lot of changes, brand new quarterbacks, brand new running backs, some new guys on that offensive line, and of course a new head coach, Sam Lipsey. He's a good coach. He's been at Northeast for a couple years through a couple different head coaches. He's taken the reins now, and it's definitely been kind of a tough thing to get used to. Kind of rebuilding that the scheme. They're running kind of a wing tee, or rather a flex bone now that takes time to get used to, because it's different from what Northeast has run. They've kind of had a pro style offense the last couple of years because they've had good receivers. They've had quarterbacks who can throw it, a quarterback who could throw it, Jaden Puig, who is now at Wilmington. So this could just fully be a transition year for Northeast at this point. Of course, they still got plenty of time in the region. They'll have teams that maybe are on a similar level to them, like Northwest, like potentially West Creek. So they'll have chances to get wins, but we're going to have to see how they stack up against those other squads.
You just mentioned Northwest. They faced Kirkwood last Friday night and fell by a final score of 27-6. Are there any clear wins on the schedule for that Northwest team?
Man, it's tough to say right now. Northwest has really, really struggled so far, and they've struggled against beatable teams like Kirkwood, who, of course, we know is a brand new school, like Fort Campbell in week 1, who, is kind of a similar school to them, whereas they're transient, a lot of military kids. So they kind of have roster turnover throughout the years, which makes it hard to get some consistency throughout the years. But Northwest was unable to beat them. Of course, Wilson Central in week 2, didn't expect them to win that game. Didn't expect them to beat Kirkwood either, but they also didn't necessarily keep it close. They kind of battled the elements there for a while in the first half. It was raining. It was pouring rain. We had our photographer Robert Smith and writer Jimmy Troglin there, so you can see all the photos and read the story about that game. But man, it was a monsoon there. But that makes it tough on both teams. But Kirkwood obviously had fewer struggles than Northwest in that game. And Northwest at this point, you asked about the schedule. I think at this point, their best chance at a win might be Northeast. Those are two teams who have struggled mightily to start the season. Kirkwood's schedule has been a tad bit easier so far. But man, at this point, it's kind of looking rough as far as getting more than 1 or 2 wins for this point at the Vikings. I hope I'm wrong, because I love seeing these teams win. Coach Pena is awesome. That's my guy. But it's tough right now for Northwest.
You mentioned teams that are struggling offensively. There's no other team struggling more in Montgomery County than West Creek. They are dropping to 0-3 now after the week 3 loss versus Rossview by a final score of 10-0. What can they do to get out of this offensive funk?
Oh man, so I think they got to find that consistent quarterback. They started with DJ Swanson, and then this past week it was Daniel Honeycutt, who is a great athlete, but didn't necessarily look super comfortable in there at quarterback. I think he's more of a slot receiver, maybe running back, maybe a wildcat quarterback, but it's been tough sledding. They struggle to throw the ball at all. I don't know if it's maybe lack of receivers. I know they've got some guys who they are comfortable handing the ball to, but when teams can stack the box, as Rossview did against West Creek, they're going to struggle to really get anything going on the ground. They had a couple fumbles. It was wet at Rossview as well on Friday night, so both teams kind of lost some fumbles, but they also lost a punt, which gave Rossview the ball inside the 10, which eventually turned into the only touchdown of the game. So turnovers, of course, limiting those is going to be huge for the offense, as it is for any offense. But West Creek also only got 1 first down against Rossview, and that's obviously just not going to cut it. I've said it in the past. In a similar game to Laverne, they held Laverne to just 9 points. When you tell a team that they're only going to allow 9 points, they're thinking they got a great chance to win. Similar deal here with this Rossview game. They held them to only 10 points. And like I said, the only touchdown Rossview scored wasn't really the defense's fault. They forced a punt, and then their punt returner muffed the punt. Rossview gets the ball at the 8. Easy touchdown from there. So it's really unfortunate to see these struggles, especially on the defensive side, because they have just been so good for the Coyotes. So I guess to summarize, for the offense, quit the turnovers, because those are going to kill you no matter what. They turned the ball over, I believe, 3 times. They lost a fumble on offense, lost a fumble on special teams, threw an interception in the red zone after, like I said, Daniel Honeycutt was kind of getting chased around, kind of tossed the ball out to the end zone. They were in the red zone, by the way. Lost the ball there, and that kind of kills your momentum, especially when you're struggling to get even just a first down. So quit the turnovers, get some first downs, and try to be able to at least air the ball out a little bit. Have that threat of throwing the ball, so you can kind of open up the run game, because you do got some guys like Jay-Sean Owsley and Honeycutt who can run the ball. So I would love to see West Creek be able to do this, because this is a team that I was actually pretty high on after a strong season last year. Their defense has been great. Offense, not so much.
We're going to take our final break here on the Montgomery County Football Wrap-Up Show. Coming up, Brady will reveal his Week 3 Player of the Week and his Week 4 Game of the Week. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
If you're looking for a color change, look no further than C Wraps. We're Clarksville's premier vinyl wrap provider, delivering high-quality work and exceptional customer service. We offer a wide range of services, including color change wraps, ceramic coating, paint protection film, and wraps for commercial vehicles. Whether you need a color change on a luxury car or commercial wraps for your business fleet, we have the expertise to handle any project. Contact us today to schedule a free consultation. Here at Rock and Roll Sushi, we're proud to be the original American-style sushi restaurant founded on great food and rock and roll music, boasting concepts and flavors that are big, bold, and loud. We're the only place to experience the rock you love and the rolls you love with the ones you love. Come see for yourself why we're the best sushi experience in town. Find us at 108 Morris Road in Clarksville, or visit our website at rockandrollsushi.com.
Meet Dr. Casey Sigerson of the Bone and Joint Group, Clarksville's only hand and wrist specialist. He's passionate about getting his patients back to living their life after suffering from an injury or degenerative condition. Dr. Sigerson treats all orthopedic conditions, from injury to recovery, and is dedicated to getting his patients moving again. Whether you need joint arthroscopy, joint replacement, fracture care, or help with a hand or wrist problem, Dr. Sigerson is here to help. Schedule your appointment today at boneandjointgroup.com.
When it comes to insurance, you want a name you can trust. Wendy Danielle Stack is here to help. With over 7 years of experience, Danielle and her team are here to assist you in finding the right coverage for all of your needs. From auto and home to life and business insurance, we have customized options for everyone. We'll work with you to create a personalized plan that protects everything in your life that matters most. Call today and see for yourself why Danielle Stack is the go-to insurance agent in Clarksville.
Watch it! Did that guy even see that girl on her bike?
Just like looking for other cars before switching lanes, drivers should keep their eyes out for those traveling on bikes. When a crash occurs between a vehicle and a bike, it's the cyclist who is most likely to be injured. Give cyclists room and do not pass too closely. Riders have the same rights and responsibilities as those behind the wheel.
Be aware, be alert. Brought to you by THSO, the Tennessee Highway Safety Office.
Welcome back into the Montgomery County Football Wrap-Up Show. I am David Wilson, sports reporter from the Robertson County Connection. That is your guy. He is Brady McAtamney. He is the sports editor for Main Street Clarksville. Brady, let's start with your Week 3 Player of the Week.
Yeah, so this is a guy that I hinted at earlier in the show. We're going to be talking about Chris Reagans, the quarterback for Clarksville Academy, had a great game against Sycamore to help the Cougars get their first win of the Stedman Bell era. Reagans, the junior, had 160 yards passing and a touchdown. He also scampered for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing to help Clarksville Academy get that first win of the season, beating Sycamore 27-14. So awesome job. I did not expect to have a Cougar here for my player of the week, at least not at this point in the season. So I'm happy to have been wrong after their slow start. So Chris Reagans, player of the week, very happy to see that. And now let's get into our schedule for this week. How's that?
Yeah,
Good?
that's fine. Walk me through it and tell me where you'll be at. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm going to save my game of the week for last, as I tend to do. And we will start with Creekwood at Montgomery Central. This is a game that I expect to be low scoring. Both teams' offenses have really struggled so far to start the year. This is a region game, so Montgomery Central has a chance to get this region win. Both teams 0-3 coming into this game. I did pick the Red Hawks to win this game, so hopefully the Indians can prove me wrong because, always good to see the area teams win, especially after the area has kind of gotten off to a little bit of a slow start here to start the year. Northeast and Kirkwood. This is another one that I see the Kirkwood Cobras getting a win with. As I kind of mentioned, Northeast has struggled to start the year, especially on offense, whereas Kirkwood has been able to kind of score in bunches at times. So I do think Kirkwood has a chance to win this one. They're at home, and so far they're undefeated, not only as a whole, but at home. And at home, they're winning games by multiple touchdowns. So look for the Cobras to potentially get one over the Eagles there. Another region game between two county foes, Rossview and Northwest. I do have the Hawks winning this one over the Vikings, who have really struggled so far to start the year. I think Rossview's defense could maybe get the shutout here. We will see, but I do think that Rossview goes out to Northwest and gets that win. Clarksville Academy, coming off their first win of the season, will be going out of town to face Middle Tennessee Christian. This is a battle of the Cougars, actually. Both teams with the Cougars nickname. Of course, Clarksville Academy wears blue. MTCS wears orange. So the blue Cougars, orange Cougars. Kind of fun, right? I kind of like that. Similar to when they play Good Pasture. Both Cougars, except both that time, they both wear blue. But that's getting off on a tangent. We also have Clarksville High. They're heading north, crossing the border, heading out to Hoptown. They're facing Hopkinsville. And Hopkinsville, pretty solid team in Kentucky. It's kind of hard to do that crossover comparison between states, but with how well Clarksville High is playing right now, I'm not betting against them. So I'm potentially looking at them to come back to town with a 4-0 record. And my game of the week, where you'll be able to find me this week, is Kenwood at West Creek. This game kind of fascinates me because Kenwood's offense has been pretty good so far, whereas their defense has not. And West Creek's offense has not been very good, but their defense has been great. So you kind of get that meshing between the two. Will Kenwood's offense be better than West Creek's defense? And will West Creek's offense be worse than Kenwood's defense? It's up to interpretation. We'll see what happens. I just know that it should be a pretty interesting game. You got some really good players in that game, some good coaches. So I'm looking forward to that. That is my game of the week, Kenwood at West Creek. And that is going to wrap us up for this week. That has been the Montgomery County Football Wrap-Up Show for Week 3. We will talk to you again in Week 4, and see you at the fields.
You've been watching the Montgomery County High School Football Show with Main Street Clarksville sports editor Brady McAtamney and Robertson County Connection sports reporter David Wilson. Read this week's Main Street Clarksville for all the latest news about Montgomery County High School sports. The Montgomery County High School Football Show has been brought to you by the Bone and Joint Group of Clarksville, Rock and Roll Sushi of Clarksville, C Wraps of Clarksville, Danielle Stack at Farmers Insurance, and the Tennessee Highway Safety Office. Join us again next week to get all of the latest news about Montgomery County High School football.